sat here a couple of days ago and I says, it's as bad as it's going to get. Well, Rangers, well done. Albeit we picked up a point in this game that was quite possibly the worst first half of football I've seen a Rangers team play for quite some time. And I'm including Dundee United in that at Ibrox and the rest of them. That was horrendous. We all know that the board won't act, but Clement has to go. There's been many people defending him in terms of, well, look at the state of the board, look at the signings that we've brought in. But when you make that many changes and you put that team out on the park, away at Fir Park, thinking that it's going to be anything less than an absolute catastrophe, then your days are up, your days are numbered. You should be gone. He has to go. He has to go before the end of this show. If this show lasts for 5 minutes or 5 hours, he has to go. He absolutely does. There's no more defending Clement. Doesn't mean we're sitting here defending the players. Absolutely not. And we'll talk about them. Absolutely. But we've said it for months, and then we stopped because we played well for a wee while. And we said, all right, maybe we're getting back into this. But from top to bottom, from bottom to top, the club's a mess. An absolute mess. And the man who is the figurehead in terms of the fans are concerned, in terms of people outside are concerned, the manager's a mess. Absolute mess. And he has to go. Joining me on the reaction today, we have Connor and Alex. Alex is me and good on the watch along. I will go to Connor first. Connor, no introductions today, mate. I'm done with all that. I'm fed up. Another 90 minutes of my life, well, 100 minutes, really, that I won't get back. What did you make of it, mate? The performance, the individual performances, the manager's performance. Has the manager gave up? Has the players gave up? Have the fans gave up?
Lot of questions to be answered in there. The first half was diabolical. There's no escaping that. It was an absolute shambles to start to finish, that first half. And, you know, I'm not sure why any of us expected anything different. I mean, when you saw the starting lineup, I cannot understand that starting lineup for the life of me. I just don't get it. And it's the second game in a row where his choices, his decisions, Clement that is, of starting lineup have killed us. You know, it killed us in Paisley on Thursday night, albeit we were 1-0 down in that game. And when we got the equaliser again, you thought, maybe we could nick it. But much like today, when we did equalise, the intensity just seemed to stop. The foot seemed to come off the pedal for some reason. And we allowed Motherwell back in to the game again, and they grew their way into it. They had chances. I know there's a lot of decisions, a lot of things to talk about before that, and I get that. But I can't understand his thinking. He keeps talking about this nonsense sports science pish. And excuse the language, but that's what it is. It's pish. I don't understand. He's standing there before the game. Okay, Haji's ill. Fair enough. That might explain partly some of his performance in Paisley. If maybe he wasn't fully 100% there either. Clement did say that Haji did apparently turn up today, but they've took a look at him and went, nah, he's clear. You know, he said he had a fever and all the rest of it. So fair enough. It's not a problem. But the rest of them, why the fuck is Kieran Dowell starting for us? Sorry, but why is Kieran Dowell starting? And then he talks about managing minutes and players' legs. Cortez can't get a game coming on off the bench when we're behind and needing something in Paisley. And even the game before that when he was on the bench. But he's all right to start a game today. And don't get me wrong, Cortez was by no means the worst player in the park today. You know, I think they all take a share in that at varying degrees in the first half. But again, it makes absolutely no sense. And then, of course, when he makes the changes at half-time, and the players that should be starting, i.e. Igaman and Czerny, they don't look tired at all. Igaman looked fresh as a daisy. So did Czerny. They changed the game. They gave us an attacking impetus that was sorely lacking in the first half. Igaman pops up with 2 goals, but he needs other players helping him out as well. And scoring goals, he can't do it all by himself. He gives us the chance to get back into it. And then if you count added time, we then had nearly, about 34 minutes after Igaman's equaliser to find a winner. And the closest we came was Danilo late on when he managed to take a lovely touch, control it, and then he's just leaning back a bit in the shot and it goes over the bar. And I don't blame him for that one, because that's not an easy opportunity, and he's created that almost by himself. That being said, he should have scored in the first half. He's got a free header in the 6-yard box. You can't miss that. At the very least, you put that in target. And Dessers as well is the same. So as I say, there's a lot to be looked at with the players, and we'll do that in this show. But Philippe Clement needs to stop listening to these stupid sports scientists and play your bloody best team. You can't go out into a game like this knowing what happened on Thursday night, knowing you need a reaction. You need to go out, put in a good performance away from home, get a win, and you don't do it. This is our worst away record, by the way, in 19 years. That is bad. That away run has been for us. It's now, only 4 of the 9 away games we've actually come away with maximum points. Not good enough. Nowhere near it.
18 points dropped. I seen this from Penna Cartel on Twitter. 18 points dropped before New Year. 18. Alex. That doesn't matter what's going on at the football club. If you drop 18 points before New Year, no Rangers manager survives that.
And yet Philippe Clement does. He still continues to survive on. I do not know what ties or what thing he has going on with this board that he has managed to survive this long. He is literally shown time and time again that he goes on maybe a game or two of good form and then loses it. Connor just spoke about it. Why are these players starting? We spoke about it during the watch along, Martin. There were so many players that started today that shows that our strongest 11 doesn't have replacements. We don't have another player to come in and back up a player on that pitch. You bring on Iggerman, gets 2 goals. Bring on Chelney, who needed a rest, but yet was great when he came on. He was actually showing he was able to run, but needed a rest apparently. These players didn't show any fight to get back in this game. We got it to 2 each, and Clement went, we've got a point, we'll take that. We were 2-0 down the first half, we'll take a point, we'll get back up the road, and we'll take on Celtic on Thursday, where we might be competitive. How he is still in a job now, I do not know. We keep speaking about this. The bold goal that he has, maybe a game or two where he'll blow a team away. Kilmarnock probably saved his job when we won 6-0, and that's kept him going for a while. But that's 2 defeats on the bounce now. Well, a defeat and a draw, but it feels like a defeat because we just don't have anything to win the game. We don't look like we can win the game at all. Who I said it to you during the watch along, Martin, when we got it to 2 each. Who actually looks like they're going to get the next goal? Because none of our players look like they were going to score. The amount of times Matondo had the ball and he was just hitting it at the goalkeeper from anywhere in the box. Diamandi kept hitting it over the bar. Nobody actually looked like they wanted to get a shot on target, bar Iggerman, who got 2.
It's look, I've got about a million questions coming in. So I'm going to go this one first, right? Because I'm getting all sorts of echo feedback here, but because he's put it in about 6 or 7 times, and I want to get this question asked, answered, and we move on, right? Panel, can you discuss boycotting the match on Thursday as a way of protest, please? I don't think, Connor, there will be any sort of protest on an Old Firm game, but I do think there will be a fair few fans who just don't turn up.
Well, given the fact that this will be the last Old Firm game, touchwood, assuming everything goes the way it should go, that won't have any away fans in attendance at it, it would certainly be one that would send a clear message, because it's only your own fans that are able to go to that game. And if you turn up and there's a sea of blue empty seats sitting there, I think that sends a clear message. I would say, though, in those type of games, it's tough because people tend to want to go to those games. Those games cost a lot of money. If you're not a season ticket holder and you end up getting tickets, it's not cheap to go to those kind of games. And I think people will turn up. I also think whatever these last 2 results are, you still want to beat Celtic. I don't care if you're 40 points behind them. You still want to beat them. We still wanted to beat them when we were 2-3 divisions below them. So it doesn't matter. And the fans will, rightly turn up and try and G the team up and give them that second wind. The problem is that I honestly don't know what those fans are going to be in for. I'm looking at that defence and I'm going, unless by some miracle we get Balogun and Suter back, which we won't, we're in deep, deep trouble in that back line. Robin Proper is absolutely horrendous. It has to be said. This is a man who was a captain of FC20 in Holland, and we sign him, and you think, okay, this is a guy who should know what it's about. He should know about leadership. He's captained that team. He's done well there. Comes over here and he's absolutely dug me. I'd put the youth players in before I'd put him in, because it's so, even today, schoolboy errors that are costing us. And yes, Jack Butland has questions to answer as well about the first goal. No question about that, and about getting very lucky not to have, thrown one in, basically. But where the first goal is concerned, the boy whose name I'm not going to attempt to say because it's quite a name, but quite frankly, if Robin Proper, and I think Sterling to a degree as well, if they do their jobs properly, then he doesn't get in that position in the first place. The issue is, yes, they'll say, come off his hand, but they've stopped and they're moaning at the referee. Just get fucking back and deal with the problem, and then you can moan at the referee after it. No problem at all. I don't mind that. Once you've cleared the danger, then go and have a go at the ref and say, come on, that hit his hand. But don't stop. It's play to the whistle. And Proper does it time and again, and then he, obviously Thursday night and all, abominable defending that incredibly didn't actually cost us initially when he was dilly-dallying with it, because Raskin bust an absolute gut to get back in and save his baiting. But again, this is the problem. Our midfielders, particularly central midfielders, they can't do their job as midfielders because they're constantly looking over the shoulders at the defence, knowing that at any second they're going to have to fill in and cover. And it harms us and takes it away. And to come back to the central point of the protest, if a protest happens, absolutely, I would say to people, if you want to do it before the game. Wait to the very last second to get into the ground. Make your voice heard outside the ground before the game. And then when you get in, again, make your voice heard in there. Let the board know that it's unacceptable and that Clement, whatever happens on Thursday, for me, has to go. Even if he gets his first win against them, it's not enough because we'll be 11 points behind still. So, no, he has got to go.
He does. He really, really does have to go. And I just want to say a massive thank you actually to fantastic Mr. Fox, who has rejoined as a member. Thank you very much for the support. It can't be easy right now. Where Rangers are giving us to come on to a show like this. Easy if you don't support Rangers, I would imagine. But if you do support Rangers, I know it's not easy. So thank you for the support. And Tess with a super chat. 1.8k watching. Give the live a like. I can tell you it's 2.1k now. Not bragging or anything, but if you haven't already and you're enjoying the show, please do leave a like. I mean, asking to leave a like after a performance like that's. I was going to use an analogy and I better not use it because I might get us took off air. But there's some other super chats as well that I'm going to get to in due time. Right, the first goal, Alex. Connor talked about it there. Now, I don't think it's a handball. I think where his arm's positioned, it's came off the hand or the arm or whatever. But if that's given against Rangers, I'm going to have my nut. I genuinely, just me personally, I don't have an issue with that not being given as a handball.
I don't think it was a handball. We said it during the watch along. I think the fact is arm was so close to his body that it wasn't out, it wasn't high, it was an actual position. He's jumped for the ball. But you've got to say that it's a shocking header by Proper. He's headed it straight at his man. Clear your lines. He's not cleared his lines, and as Connor says, they both stopped and protested to the referee. Get the ball out of play, put it out for a corner, put it out for a throw-in, whatever, get it back to your goalie, and then complain. The fact that Jack Butland as well came off his line, then decided, no, this is too far, and ran back. So he's in the middle of the box, not in a position to save the ball, and it goes right underneath him. Just showed that it was going to be a tough afternoon for Rangers because they were nowhere to be seen. The two defenders were so far apart that there was actually just ample space for the Motherwell players to run into. And the way that they were countering, Rangers didn't know how to deal with it because Proper headed the ball and then looked lost. Like he's, oh wait, I need to go and try and actually defend this, wait till I get back into a position. And by that point, the ball's underneath him. I think you said during the watch along that it was actually Sterling on goal.
It looked to me as if it actually came off Sterling's foot, but if it was heading towards the goal, then it doesn't matter. It's only if it's heading wide, obviously, and it gets deflected that it's an own goal. But own goal or not, that doesn't really matter, Connor.
No.
You always, Connor, defend goalkeepers, which is your right. I was a goalkeeper as well. I just wasn't very good. But you do defend goalkeepers. Should Butland have done better for that goal because it went right underneath him?
Well, I mean, yeah, he should have, in terms of because his defenders have switched off completely and sold him up the river. He has had to come out, because if he just stands in his goal, then Stamopoulos is going to be clean through anyway and going to get a shot away and probably score. So he has to come out and try and do something. The problem is what he did. And listen, I don't necessarily blame him, because it's kind of what you're taught as a goalkeeper. When you're spreading yourself to make yourself bigger, your legs are naturally going to come apart. And that's what's happened. And he's slid in. My issue is that I don't think that's how I'd have been coming out there. I'd have been coming out, throwing myself down and trying to smother the ball. Yes, you take the risk that if the Motherwell attacker takes a slight touch to the side or just slightly turns and you catch him, you give a penalty. But it's a risk worth taking, because if you're smothering it, it can't go underneath you then. He's got to go over you, or you might just get lucky and win it. If he goes round you or he goes over you, then fair enough. I just think when it goes underneath you, that's why you kind of need to put your body in the way, rather than just your legs, because it's easier for it to go underneath you. So I do think they should have done better.
So taking away all the technicalities, just take them all away. Could Butland do better for the goal, Connor? Yes or no?
Yes.
Alex?
Yes, 100% Butland can do better for the goal. He looks like he tries to smother it and it just goes underneath him. He's nowhere near it. I think Butland is just as at fault as the two centre-backs. He could do a lot more to save that ball, and he doesn't do enough, and it just rolls underneath him.
So I would say, though, I'm not. The thing is, and believe me, I'm not defending Butland, because I've got more criticism of him later on. But again, though, if I'm Jack Butland in that situation, whatever I could have done better, I'm absolutely going apeshit at my defenders, because they're the ones who switched off. They're the ones that allowed them in right in between the two of them in the first place and created the issue. So whilst he's certainly got a part to play and should do better, I would slightly disagree with Alex in that he's just as at fault as the two defenders. I think they're more at fault, because they should be stopping it at source before Butland has to get involved.
But again, it's just a long ball over the top. Again, it's just a long ball over the top that our defence fails to clear, and it's a goal for the opposition because we cannot clear the ball away. Time and time again, it's shown that that's the way that defenders have to, attackers play against us. Put a ball over the top, let somebody run onto it, and they're ultimately going to get a shot away.
100%.
Yeah. Right. Well, I don't know how to pronounce this. Razors. I've just said razors. People moaning about the dropping, people on sports science advice, the same people moaning we have so many injuries for a decade. Do you know what? I'm going to come back to that, right? I'm going to just save that and come back to it. Because firstly, I want to ask, actually, Connor, if the two centre-backs in Butland are at fault for the first goal, Connor, who's at fault for the second?
Well, firstly, I've got to say that Maswanisi, to be fair to him, does really well. He takes it brilliantly and controls it well, and it's a great finish. Butland cannot do anything with that finish. People don't care. People can talk about his diving or whatever. He's not getting near that. It's planted straight in the corner. So take Butland out of the equation there for a start. When it's in the air, your defenders have three opportunities to try and clear it. They don't. Again, it's Motherwell players, and we've seen it how often the opposition players winning the first header, the second header, and we're not getting on any of the first or second balls. When it drops to Maswanisi, and my real gripe here is there's 4 Rangers players around him, and as good as his control is, Martin, he should not be allowed the time to actually take a touch to bring it down, a touch to turn, and then finish it. Now, there's a few of them in the final line there. I think Robin Proper, again, not doing his job properly, because when Maswanisi turns, you've got to fling a leg in there and try and stop it, and it's a weak attempt at doing that. But even before he turns, you've got, I think, is it Tav, I think's out there with him, as well as Oh, who else was on? I can't.
Tap to swipe it thin air. Tap swipes at nothing.
He swipes at nothing. But as I say, you've got 4 Rangers players around him, and he's had a touch to bring it down, a touch to turn, a touch to finish. You can't give strikers 3 touches or attacking players 3 touches in your box. That's madness. So there's at least 4 of them culpable for that.
It's a carbon copy of the St Mirren goal. There was 5 defenders in when St Mirren put the ball in for their second goal midweek, and there's 4 in the box there, and still nobody can clear that, and that's 2 goals that have been put in when there's ample defenders to get that ball away, and nobody takes responsibility of just hoofing it away. They just say that that's not my job and look at everybody else and point fingers. Just punt it away and then have a shout at somebody else once the ball's away. But we'll wait until the ball's in the back.
You don't have to make contact with him there, and that's what they're all worried about. They're all worried. If I make any contact, he's going to down for a penalty. All you have to do is just get tight, close the space. If one of those players, whether it's Proper or whoever, or Tav, if one of them just closes in on him, just a half a yard, even half, that's all it needs. Then he doesn't have the space to make the turn and finish in the first place. But nobody does. And that's
it has to be said, though. It does have to be said that even with our mistakes, because sorry, us moaning and groaning, it's a very good finish. It's a very,
and I said that. It's a very good finish. Very good. Yeah. He's took it brilliantly. I would want my striker to be taking it like that if it fell to him. Absolutely. The boys done really, really well. And quite frankly, by the end of that first half, I could not begrudge Motherwell their 2-0 lead because I thought Motherwell were everything we weren't in the first half. They were hungry for it. They were up for it. They clearly had a bee in their bonnet. We know Stuart Kettlewell has said in his time as Motherwell manager that these are games he wants his team to perform better in, because for too long they were getting rolled over at Fir Park by Rangers and Celtic. And to his eternal credit, last season they had a couple of crackers against Celtic. They've taken points off us last year and this season now as well. So he's doing that. So we should have known fully what to expect from Motherwell today. And just seemingly we weren't up for it anywhere. So after the first half, Motherwell more than deserved their 2-0 lead.
They did. Right, now, Alex, I want you to explain this to me, right? I'm not going to be hypocritical, though, right? Giving Igaman the first 45 off or whatever, I'm on board with that, because he hasn't been very good the last few games. We were all saying, do you know what, maybe he just needs a break before the old firm. However, he started Double and Cortez, etc., blah, 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 because Czerny was tired, right? If you've got an ankle knock, right, that you don't want to exacerbate, fair enough. If you've got a niggling injury there that a medical professional has says, if something happens on that park, he's out for months. I'm sorry, right? I'm tired. I'm tired after 2 hours 20 of doing a watch along for that game. I'm still at my work. I'm still doing my job. How on earth can you not start a player who claims that he's tired, right? And then when he comes on in the second half, performs like that, I'm sorry, I don't get it.
We said a player was tired. Yeah, Connor made the great point that we said that Cortez wasn't able to get on for minutes. He couldn't come on for 10 minutes against St Mirren. He can't come on for 10 minutes because he's injured, but he's all right to play a full 90. He's all right to come on for games like that. I know he came off from Matondo, but Czerny looked like he was just playing his usual game. Didn't look like he was tired. Didn't look like he was carrying a knock. He was still going for tackles. He's still running up and down. I do not get how Philippe Clement has said that, listen, I know you're not starting, we'll bring you on and you might make an impact. It's shocking because look at the way the team played in the second half. You bring on Czerny, you bring on Igaman, and we actually look like we're starting to get back in this game a bit. Igaman has 2 great opportunities, takes them both and gets 2 goals. He might have not done that from the first 45, but it's the fact that he came on and changed the game and we're still going, but he needed that rest. He didn't look like he needed it. He was hungry and he was up for it. But Dessers wasn't even in that game. He wasn't even in it. What's he getting 45 minutes for? He wasn't in it from the first half. The only thing I remember Dessers doing was when he had the swipe that then Clancy gave a free kick to Motherwell for it when he put it to the goalie. But I think it's criminal that these boys aren't getting it. Then you're not getting other players like Kieran Dowell does not deserve to start, but we're not getting youth in there. There's youth that are screaming out to get a game. You've got McCausland, who's an out-and-out winger, sitting on the bench and we'll play Kieran Dowell instead. It's criminal. His selection is absolutely
I can't remember who messaged me just as the game kicked off, and they said, We've got 3 wingers on the bench and Dill's playing right wing. Connor, I can't wrap my head around that. Look, am I sitting here saying that Ross McCausland is the answer to all of our problems? No, I'm not. But am I sitting here saying that I think I would get more of a 45 minutes out of McCausland than I will Dill? Yeah, absolutely.
Well, yeah, Dill's totally anonymous when he comes on the park. He doesn't do anything of note. There's nothing. We were told, I remember when Dill signed for us, when we were being told by all the boffins down south that Dill was technically a better player than Todd Cantwell and that we were getting a great player, and if he could just stay off the injury table, he'd be fantastic for us. Rarely have we ever seen that for Kieran Dill. He's had 1 or 2 moments. There was, admittedly, was it last season, maybe the season before, him and Cantwell absolutely tore Motherwell apart. Probably the best game Kieran Dill's ever played in a Rangers jersey. Arguably the best that Cantwell had ever played either, so there you go. But apart from that, Dill offers you absolutely nothing. Even coming on off the bench, if you need a bit of spark as a sub, he doesn't do anything. And it's so frustrating. And I don't care if I get pilloried for this, but
he's there to hold the ball.
Right. Give me Scott Wright back before you give me Dill, because at least with Scott Wright, you might not get an end product, but you got effort, you got pace. He could at least antagonise the defence.
If you needed goals in Europe and you get goals in the Scottish Cup, right?
He did. And if you needed somebody to come on for game management just to run down a clock, well, he knew how to sprint into that corner flag quite well and show that. Dill doesn't even have that, and that's a real worry for me. He's someone who I think will be out the door, ideally in January. If you can get him off the wage bill, great, because then you can maybe free up room to bring somebody else in who could offer you more. But almost certainly by the summer. But you get absolutely nothing for him. And I do, even the Eggman one, I agree with everything that's been said on that as well. I can slightly understand that more than the Dill one, only slightly, purely because Eggman had been slightly off it the last couple of games. He missed 2 sitters, Martin. That's undeniable. He missed a sitter against St Mirren and a sitter against Dundee. Dundee one more egregious because he's got a rape to go and he hits the bar. The St Mirren one, albeit he's at an angle, but he should be putting that in the back of the net, particularly when you see the finishing he's applied today. So I can see why it might have entered the manager's mind and go, does he maybe need to be rested because he's had a couple of rough patches there? But he's always involved, Eggman. He's always there, creating havoc, creating chances, doing things that Dessers only does occasionally. And don't get me wrong, Dessers makes great runs. He done that in the first half. He had a couple of great runs, but he can't bloody finish his dinner half the time. So it doesn't matter.
He can't head up the ball either. He can't head the ball up. He can't link the play. He can't score. Like, what are we actually looking at? Do you know what got me though was the fact we played 2 strikers and one of them had to play as number 10. Why not play them both at striker? We literally played Danilo and Dessers and one of them had to be in the number 10 role.
Guys, are you ready?
No.
Okay.
Right. I apologise because I want to discuss, more importantly, Eggman's second goal, to be fair. But we'll discuss the 2 goals and then I want to get into a discussion about Motherwell's third that was chopped off. Before we do that, but folks, and I do apologise. Here's the manager.
Philippe, a 2-2 draw here today. What did you make of those 90 minutes from your team?
Yeah, that we made our own downfall today with conceding 2 easy goals where the opponent don't need to do difficult things, that we defend really badly. And because of this, we play a game that you need to chase things all game. What the team did, we created also enough chances then to score the 3rd goal and still to win the game. So in that way, the attitude stayed until the last second, but we didn't score this 3rd goal. And it's now 2 games in a row that we give away these easy goals. And like this, it's really difficult to win games. You cannot, in away games, count on scoring 3-4 goals every time.
Yeah, is that frustrating to be in that position at halftime?
It's super frustrating because the way we conceded the goal, that's super frustrating. And it's strange also to see that after the last months where we were much better defensively, where we defended really well against top teams like Tottenham or against Celtic, also playing a good defensive game. And in the other league games also, there was stability, there was aggressivity, we were winning the duels, we were not giving away chances. Today also, we didn't give away much, but in these moments we need to be more robust, more stronger, more determined. And it's 2 games in a row now that we make it for ourselves difficult and for the opponent much easier, because they don't need to play football anymore. They only need to defend and to stay compact. But still, we created also enough chances to score the third goal.
You touched earlier on the players' attitude too. We did see that in the second half, and like you say, they did keep pushing for that goal.
What about the
Yeah,
first
there was
half?
nobody giving up, and it's a normal thing. It's the thing that needs to be. I told them in halftime also in that way that we could come back and we could score 3 goals if everybody kept his head high and go full for it. What they did, but yeah, you cannot give away those 2 goals in the first half. You make it for yourself too difficult in that way.
What's it like in the dressing room now? What's the mood like amongst the players after today?
That everybody's really down because they know we failed in the mission that we had today and against St. Mirren also. So that's 2 games in a row.
Moving forward, how do you rectify that, or what needs to be done in the next few days?
That everybody looks really well in the mirror about what we can do better. Everybody, that's players, staff, me, everybody. And
sorry, they should have done that after the St Mirren game. Looked in the mirror and says, "How do we do better?" They should have done that after.
Season.
They
They
should have
failed our
done that.
season. What do you mean?
They should have done that straight from the start of the season, right up until we had that wee purple patch. Sorry, that's absolute mince. And he actually said in his Sky interview, Connor, about the VAR decisions that he trusts VAR.
Oh, he's full of shit, man. Fucking unbelievable, man.
Who's he kidding? Seriously, look, we've had some stinkers. There's no doubt about it. The League Cup final, we all know what happened there, and how poor that was. Willie Collum himself said it. There's been others. You know, we've seen Motherwell themselves have been in the end there. I think a couple of horrendous decisions for VAR. Dan Casey sent off against Kelly is one of the worst things I think I've ever seen in terms of a VAR decision. Never mind the penalty that Celtic got against them the other day there, which again, I just, you know, if I'm Motherwell, I'm absolutely bealing. That's probably why Stuart Kettlewell gets sent off, to be fair. Mm-hmm. But let's be clear. How can he say he trusts VAR? Nobody trusts VAR because they don't get it right often enough. And quite frankly, today, you know, we maybe benefited from a VAR decision in terms of Motherwell's third goal, which we'll come on to.
We definitely did.
But you could argue Motherwell possibly did as well. I think Lennon Miller may well on another day have seen red.
Right,
although I can see why it wasn't given.
Talk about that, Connor. Let's talk about that right now before I forget. Right, so I'll come to you and then Alex, you can jump in just on Lennon Miller. For me, I think that's a red card, Connor. He's went over the top of the ball, studs showing right into the. I can't remember who was it. Was it Diamant? No, it was Cortez, wasn't it?
Cortez,
right into Cortez's ankle. For me, that's a red card.
Well, he's gone over the ball, and usually that's one of the things that tends to lead to red cards. It's one of those kind of decisions where I think he should probably have seen red for it. However, I can understand how they've made a case for yellow. I can see what they're thinking is maybe how much force was in the tackle. It wasn't like really high up the leg. It sort of catches him just in the sort of ball, the angle just over the ball, which still is high. And that's maybe how they've came to that decision. I think it's a red card, and I think that's one that Motherwell have got away with. But I'm not going to complain too much because, to be fair to Motherwell, they were probably due one to go in their favour, and they certainly got it today. But for Philippe Clement to say that he trusts VAR is ridiculous. It also undermines what the club have literally been saying the past couple of weeks. The statement that they made when Frank Connor was appointed straight back into a Celtic game. In fact, I think that was at the Motherwell game. I think it might have been today. And quite rightly, they made that statement saying, how can you make a mistake like that and just be thrown straight back in? Where's the accountability? And then Clement comes out and goes, I trust VAR. No, you don't. You don't. It just winds me up. This is managers who know VAR have let them off the hook with one and just don't want to say anything about it. That's why VAR never improves, by the way, because it's a hypocrisy. And that's what Clement, sadly, has done there.
Yeah, listen, absolutely. Matt Ford new member on the YouTube channel. Thank you very much, Matt, for the support, my friend. It is greatly, greatly appreciated. I'm going to actually go through a couple of these super chats before we come back to the game. I knew it was going to be a busy show today. So DJ Kieran McD, available now for weddings, parties, and whatever you want. I don't know how you get a hold of him, but he's available. CEO's got to act now, quick to put out statements previously, so now is the time to show he means business. Bring Muscat or bring Gerrard home. Alex, I don't really care if it's Muscat, Gerrard or anybody. But the CEO, Patrick Stewart, in order to keep the goodwill that he's got with the Rangers support already after his statements, he's got to act.
He's got to act. He's got to act now. I said it to you, though, Martin, numerous times through that watch along. We've got Clement until the end of the season. It's a foregone conclusion. He's not going to get sacked. The amount of times that there's been opportunities to sack him before, and we're not going to sack Clement. All the fans can scream about it, shout about it from the heavens, whatever, but we're not going to sack Clement. It doesn't matter what happens. A result like today just shows that because we're still second, we've got second. It was said it during the watch along. As long as he keeps that position, he's going to keep his job. Yes, Aberdeen, if they win, they go back to second, but we will keep Clement. It's going to happen. I'm telling you right now. Clement will be a Rangers manager until at least the end of the season.
Yeah, I agree with that. And Connor agrees with that so much that he's just sitting there going, yeah, I agree with that. Dougal, when we got it back, and thank you for the super chat, my friend, Ian, when we got back to 2-2, Clement was happy with the point. And put the handbrake on again should never ever happen at Rangers. It's Le Guin-esque. Corner. What I did notice was, and I'm not really going to discuss the first Rangers goal, we will discuss the second at some point. When we scored that early goal in the second half, corner, we then disappeared. And then we somehow managed to get the second goal, which was a thing of beauty, by the way, from Igaman. And then what happened after that corner as an attacking threat? We disappeared.
Yeah, this is exactly what happened on Thursday night. Just copying and repeat. Basically, that's what it was. You score the goal, you get level in the game. You think, right, there's at least 22 minutes of normal time left here. Plus, even at that point, you knew there was going to be a fair chunk added on time because there had already been a few VAR checks to that point. So you kind of knew that you were staring down the barrel of a minimum of probably 7 or 8 minutes at that point. Obviously, turned out to be 10. And so you knew you had time. Go and get that third goal, go and kill the game off and get a winner. And then you can maybe drop off a bit. But getting to 2-2, it's like the players get to 2-2 and go, all right, thank God for that. We're back level in the game. It's no as bad, But if Motherwell had went and scored to make it 3-2, you'd have seen that urgency again because they'd have been shitting themselves again. And that's a worry for me. Because why on earth, if you're playing for Rangers, are you resting in your laurels going, well, we're back at 2 each now, it's fine.
We had a wee spell, Connor. I can't remember if it was after the first or the second goal, actually. My mind's went a bit blank. We had a wee spell after we scored where we put a bit of pressure on for about 5 minutes. And then, Alex pointed it out in the watch along as well. It just disappears. It's like you say, Connor, it's almost as if they go, phew, we're not getting beat.
Aye, that's exactly it. And that's the wrong attitude to have. Because the attitude should still be, no, we need to go and win this game. And listen, the thing is, right, had they managed to come out and win this game 3-2 today from 2-0 down, I would have been praising the fight to do that, to pull that back in the second half. Make no mistake about it, Clement would have still been getting absolute pelters because the evidence is there for all to see that his starting lineup was appalling. But it would have shown a bit of mentality and a bit of, right, no, we really need to get our asses in gear here. And show the hunger, and it didn't really work out that way. There was only a couple of players in that park who showed that type of urgency. I thought Tierney was one of them when he came on. I thought Igaman was superb when he came on with the 2 goals. Danilo, to be fair to him, although he misses a certain first half, the effort was still there. He was still trying to get into positions and cause problems. And Raskin, to be fair, who just always seems to be everywhere in the pitch. To be fair to him, apart from that, you're thinking what's going on. And maybe Yilmaz, to be fair to him, he got forward a few times, but the rest of it was just like, and 2-2's no good enough. It's not good enough. They said before the game on Sky that Robin Proper had before he came to Rangers, doesn't fully understand the pressures that's on Rangers because he said in the past that, well, if you lose a game in Holland, it doesn't really matter. But that's, you're not in Holland, or you're not FC20, which is why it didn't matter, by the way, because if he had been at PSV Eindhoven or Ajax, it would have mattered. Their fans do demand better as well. But you just think, how can you possibly have that attitude? You've got to win this game. I mean, Martin, 7 days ago, you're sitting here going, 9 points behind them, win these 2 games, then go into the game in the second, you can go within 6 points, and then we've maybe got a title race back on again. And in classic Rangers fashion, what these players do, as soon as there's a hint that they might call it back, they shit the bed and they go and throw away 5 points and find themselves now 14 points behind. The Celtic are the only team in the world I know, Martin, who can drop points and still end up further ahead. It's incredible. That's what we do, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's what, 14 points now? I mean,
yeah,
it's actually got to the point.
A week ago, they've gained 5 on us. I mean, it's just, how does that even happen?
It's actually got to the point where the points don't matter anymore. We're not even paying attention to the points anymore. They're that far ahead, and then it's even more embarrassing when you look at the goal difference. Goal difference tells you quite a lot about a football team. What it tells you is that Celtic are a significantly better football team than us. In fact, they're better than us by a country mile as a football team right now. Whether that's down to individual players, whether that's down to management, whether that's down to tactics, whatever, down to sports science, I don't care. They are miles ahead of us. And do you know what? They've been okay this season. They've got levels that they could probably go up. I've seen a couple of their games, and I don't think they've played anywhere near their full potential. And they're 14 points ahead, Alex. That for me says a lot. I mean, the Alchemist coming in with a super chat. Need to get through in Europe. Hope Egerman performs. Cash in on him in the summer. We won't get better. We're not drowning in debt, but I get what you mean. So basically now, Scottish Cup in Europe, and we're hoping that we can do something in Europe.
I don't think anybody's under the illusion that Clement hasn't been putting his focus into Europe. Look at the performance levels when we actually play in Europe. We step up. Look at the performance against Tottenham, Malmo. We've done it countless times this season where we've stepped up and won games in Europe and then come back into the league and just look dire. We've all spoke about how we just want to play on a Thursday night, and that's been the case because we don't actually know how to play. The fact is that Celtic have a player for each position and somebody to come on in that position as well. We don't. We've got 11 players that start, and if one gets injured, shit hits the fan because we've got nobody to cover that position. We'll play Leon King on Thursday, and then he'll be the scapegoat when he plays because he might have a bad game and we get beat, and it'll be his fault because he's had a bad game. But that's the only time he's going to get played because Clement's got no issue changing that back line. He wanted to play Sterling, who's a right back, as centre back, rather than putting Leon King in there. Because we've lost Balogun, Casemiro, and Proper, he's like, I don't know what to do with my back line now, so I'll just throw anybody in there, make it work. If we lose Proper...
you mean? Sorry.
But if we lose another centre back, who have we got? There's nobody to come in because he doesn't want to promote any of the boys from the youth team up. He doesn't want to give anybody that sits on the bench a chance. So we actually don't have anybody to come in that back line.
No, we really don't.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, Martin, Alex talks about Thursday nights. We did play on Thursday night against St Mirren, we get beat. So apparently it's only Thursday nights in Europe, apparently.
Yeah, and then we're playing, and then when's our next Thursday night? Thursday game, Connor, not Thursday night.
Oh, that would be the 2nd of January at Ibrox against Celtic.
Yes.
And I don't know that I've ever felt less confident going into a game against anybody at Ibrox than I do right now.
And do you know what? It's a game that in terms of the league means absolutely nothing.
Yep.
It means absolutely nothing. And that's normally when our players step up when there's nothing riding on it. But I've got a horrible feeling about Thursday. I've got a really, really horrible feeling. But we said that before, and things seem to turn around. I don't know. I'm just trying to grasp onto absolutely anything. Right, so it's 2-2, Connor. Right, we spoke about Egerman's second goal. Absolute peach, showing us that he is the one player right now in our squad that has real quality. But before that second goal goes in for us, Connor, a corner for Motherwell. I think it was a corner.
It was a corner.
Butland punches it into his own goal. Tony Watt's hand is like there, not grabbing. His hand's there. Butland goes down. I think the goal's given, and then VAR is the one that chops it off. Now, I understand you're a goalkeeper, Connor, and I've already said it on this show and countless other shows, right? But and I understand why the goal's chopped off, because any touch on a goalkeeper, regardless of how heavy or light it is, seems to be given as a free kick. But Connor, not in a month of Sundays for me is that a foul. That should have been a goal to Motherwell.
So, a slight correction, Kevin Clancy actually gave the free kick. And then VAR then checked it to see if it should be overturned, ultimately agreeing with the on-field official's decision. I think had Kevin Clancy decided to get, it's one of these ones, I think if Clancy decided to give it, not 100% convinced VAR would have sent him to the monitor. But because he has given the free kick, I think that's why VAR have decided to side with him. I don't necessarily agree with it. I think that's just VAR being spineless, quite frankly. But nothing new there. I think, goalkeepers.
I don't think he impedes the goalkeeper. Maybe look, I could be wrong. It's just my opinion. I just don't think he impedes him.
Does he impede him?
Butland's 6'5", Connor, and built like a tank.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter what height. What I would say is, whether he impedes him physically, I don't know, but it can put you off. I mean, if you're a goalkeeper jumping to get the ball and somebody puts their hand on your shoulder, that is enough to just slightly put you off. That being said, and I want to be clear here, because I'm all for the keepers union, and certainly if I was the goalkeeper there, I would be wanting them to give me the free kick. I wouldn't be telling the ref anything other. But as I said to Dougal in the WhatsApp chat, that I would certainly still know in the back of my head that I've got away with one, and that's what Butland has done there. For me, I honestly, I think it's an incredibly soft foul. I think Tony Watt is a bit daft in terms of don't put your hand on the goalkeeper. Yeah, but just don't put your hand on the goal. If you put your hand on the goalkeeper, then you've given the referee a decision to make. You've given him a reason to make that call. And unfortunately for Tony Watt, he did. That being said, if I was sat in the VAR booth, even as I am with my Rangers specs on, being a goalkeeper, knowing what I know, I'd have been giving them that goal, because Jack Butland makes a mess of it, all of his own making. He does not deal with it as it comes in. Yes, Watt's arm on him might slightly put him off, but is it enough to say that's a foul? Would that be considered a foul if he had done it on a defender, for example? Probably not. So therefore, it shouldn't be with the keepers, but keepers are much.
We spoke about this in the Scottish Review show, Connor. We spoke about it on the Scottish Review show, though, that keepers get a lot more leniency. They get protected a lot more. We talk about keepers that they can make tackles and they don't get sent off when, if it's a defender, it's a straight red. They don't get it. They get protected a lot more. And I think that's an instance where we can see a goalkeeper has been protected. It's very, very soft. It's not a foul. And I think that shows that keeper's been protected, because Clancy's given the free kick before he's even looked at it properly. As soon as he sees the arm on the chest, he's blown for a foul. And I think that's why we can talk about how I think Motherwell have been cost a goal in that respect, because I don't think it's a foul, but it's the protection that goalkeepers do get.
I mean, sorry, Connor, I completely understand the reason that it was given. All I'm saying is that for me, if that game's 2-2 and we get that in the final minute and that gets chopped off, I am going off my nut because of how much goalkeepers are overprotected.
But then
Butland should be strong enough to be able just to push Tony Watt with one of his fingers off him. And it's the fact that he's also punched it into his own goal corner. I really do think, and I think and you might actually be able to sit back and put your, in fact, just turn your camera off and walk off. I think you were right about Liam Kelly. I think it's time for Butland to be dropped.
Well, listen, I've always said that Liam Kelly is a more than able deputy. The performance he put in against Ajax pre-season was exceptional. He made some terrific saves. And look, Kelly, for me, I just think Kelly's a bit better with the ball at his feet. Is he as good a shot stopper, pound for pound? He's probably not. But he is capable, more than capable. And with the ball at his feet, he's just that little bit more confident than Jack Butland is. And in those positions as well, Butland has got to be stronger and command your area. That's what you're supposed to do. See that 6-yard box as a goalkeeper. That's your area. You have to command that like your life depends on it. That's your job. He didn't do that. He was weak and flapped at it and punched it into his own net and got away with one. What I would say is it's sort of turnabout's fair play, because I put that in the same bracket as I put Motherwell's first goal. That it's 50-50. You'll get that sometimes you won't. On another day, another referee in VAR might have actually ruled out Motherwell's first goal, because it does come off the hand and it's the same player whose hand it comes off that scores it. And technically, by the IFAB rules, that doesn't tend to be a goal unless it's another player that scores. Now, that being said,
Connor, that's actually wrong. It's a goal. It gets chopped off if the action after it leads to a goal. It's the fact it came off him. No, it came off him and went to another Motherwell player.
Who directly then assisted the goal for him. It was all in the one action.
But that doesn't matter. That's the rules.
It's all in the one action. It's not. The attacking phase of play hasn't reset. The ball comes off his hand straight to his own player, who then lays him off and he scores. If it had been the other way about, it would have been different.
If it came off his arm and he shot, if it came off his arm and he shot and it went in, then that's a different story. It's the fact it's went to another player.
He still scored it. At the end of the day, as I said, you can debate the rights and wrongs. I'm just pointing out that these are decisions that sometimes go for you, sometimes go against you. I think goalkeeper's more likely to get that than not. That being said, absolutely Motherwell can feel a bit aggrieved by that. And quite frankly, had it been 3-1 at that point, I mean, it would have been game over anyway. Let's no mince our words here. And then, of course, you look at the offside that happened after that. Again, that's it is offside. But again, you're getting just enough of a little bit of luck there, because the players have just got out in time. Dan Casey's slightly ahead. It's actually the point of his elbow really that's slightly ahead, but it's offside. And that is what it is. And I will correct you, it is, listen to any VAR show with Willie Collum when he talks about the APP, the build up to a goal. That's what that is. And that's all in the one attacking phase of play.
Yeah, but the handball rule is slightly different. I actually heard that, so it's slightly different. But listen, we'll move on for that, because amazingly we're 52 minutes into this, which is incredible. Bluebells are blue, massive super chat, thank you very much, my friend and channel member. Not a chance. Patrick Stewart came in not knowing he had a decision to make on Clement sooner rather than later. If the CEO is worth his salt, Alex, he's a plan to get Clement out.
I mean, we've all spoke about it, the fact that we need to get Clement out, but it's when we're all talking about getting him out now. No board is going to sack the manager before the Old Firm. Absolutely not. They might sack him after it, but they're not going to sack him before it. So we've at least got Clement for one more game. But I think Clement's going to be here till the end of the season. I think Patrick Stewart's probably coming up with contingency plans and he's looking at other managers to come in. But right now, I think he's knowing that he's got to stick with Philippe Clement until the end of the season. I don't think that he wants to go into that decision. PC is probably going to get another transfer window. He's probably going to get the January transfer window to make signings. He's also going to get players out of the club, but I think he's still going to stay in until the end of the season at least.
These kind of super chats are going along the same tone. Connor, if the board back Clement with the money in January, I give up. If they won't sack him, exile him and bring a caretaker who knows the club. Yeah.
Well, they see, this is the thing though, right? Yes, he should be sacked. A couple of issues that come along with that, of course. The number one issue being finances, because if Clement does get sacked, then the club are going to have to pay him off. Because we gave him that contract extension, or the previous administration did, because to be fair, that was not Patrick Stewart's choice, that was John Bennett and Bisgrove, who, for reasons known to them and them alone, decided to do that. It's going to cost us even more money, which will then take, coffers out of the pot for signing any players in January. That's going to cause its own problems. So it's going to be a tough decision. Listen, I think he needs to go. I think Alex, unfortunately, is probably right. He'll almost certainly be in the dugout for the game against Celtic on Thursday. And then after that, he may or may not get sacked. The sad thing about it is, if he wins that game, they won't sack him, because they're not going to sack him after he's just beat Celtic for the first time. So if I want him sacked, then he would need to drop points in that game, and I think he probably will. So he probably will find himself in the firing line sooner or later. What I would say is, this idea, bring somebody in who knows the Rangers ethos, we done that. We brought in Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, and the fans wanted him sacked after 9 months. You know, it hasn't been working even when we've gone down that route. And that's a real problem. Now, again, Van Bronckhorst's form dropped off a cliff, but not to the degree that Clement said. Van Bronckhorst had 2 bad games and he was sacked. He lost 2 games at St
And made
Mirren.
a European final, by the way.
Yeah, made a European final, won a Scottish Cup as well, which was a great effort, having lost a European final just 3 days earlier. Lost 2 games in a row at St Mirren and St Johnstone, got sacked. Whereas Philippe Clement has barely won a game away from home all season, finds himself 14 points behind Celtic. If Aberdeen find a winner tonight, we'll be back in 3rd place, having only been in 2nd for a week, and he's still in a job. So this is the problem. This approach isn't working. And whoever, if Clement gets sacked, whoever comes in next is 2 things. Has absolutely got to be the right man, but also, I think we as fans are going to have to give that manager probably time, because this ain't going to be an easy fix. You know, and you can trace this all back.
How many more years do we keep saying that?
I know that, but
years do we keep saying that? So we don't sack him. We don't sack him because financials. We don't sack him because they need time to rebuild. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm fed up
with
the same
excuses.
Yeah, but I'm not saying you don't sack him. What I'm saying is, though, Martin, we also have to just slightly take a step back and look at it and go, right, if you sack Clement, which I think we should do, you know, I'm not defending him, then you bring in a new manager, right? Then that manager cannot come in and turn things around straight away. It's not an overnight fix. And like it or not, these things take time. And if we bring in another manager and go, right, he's not won the league by next year, he's sacked, then you're in trouble. You know, my point is, yes, Clement should go based on his form and based on what has been happening. I am not disputing that at all. And to the person who claimed I'm making it sound like it's Rosie in the Garden, nonsense. I didn't say that at all. The problem is that then you can't just keep on merry-go-round the managers and keep sacking them.
Yes, you can.
You can't. Because how are you ever going to get?
You just keep managers that aren't good enough and continuously make the wrong substitutions and continuously talk nonsense.
Steven Gerrard came in after Pedro. Steven Gerrard came in after Pedro Caixinha won nothing for 3 years. Yes. And we kept him on, and then eventually he won the league.
Much different situation. Since then, hold on. Since Gerrard won the league and then left, right? What have we done since Gerrard won the league? We've made it to a European final. So Gerrard put in the building blocks for us to get better, and then left. Gerrard left us 6 points ahead of Celtic. 6 points ahead of Celtic. So what we do from now on is, right, what we do is a manager Clement comes in last season, does okay, probably should go and win the league, but doesn't because the players let him down. Then gets a transfer window, a full pre-season, and we're 14 points behind before New Year. Oh, well, that's fine then. We'll just keep him. Oh, who cares?
We'll just expect the completion of 2nd place. So that's all we're doing.
And then if we sack him in January, hold on. We sack him now, and a new manager comes in January, right? Doesn't really do that well because we don't expect him to do that well, right? Then has a full pre-season and a transfer window, and is 14 points behind Celtic. Then we just go, all right, it's cool, but we'll just keep going. We can't keep sacking managers. Of course, you can keep sacking managers if they're not doing the job right, and Clement is not doing the job.
Okay, let me turn that back on you then. Let me ask you this question, right? You're Patrick Stewart, right? You sack Philippe Clement. And you bring in whoever the new manager is, right? You're just appointing a new manager, and you're having a conversation, and you're saying, right, here's what I expect for you as a manager of Rangers. Are you telling that manager, be clear, if you don't come in, do an Ange Postecoglou and win the league in a year, you're done?
No.
Right.
What I'm telling that manager is that if you come in and after a good couple of months, I can't see what style of play you're trying to play. If you come in and you don't win the league from now until the end of the season, fair enough, because we're in a terrible position. But if you come in now and then have a full pre-season and a transfer window, and then see by New Year, you're 14 points behind Celtic. Sorry, you're out the door. You're gone.
Aye,
That's
I
what
agree.
I'm saying to a new
I
manager.
agree, 100%. We're settling for complacency here. We're bringing in managers and going, right, you've got second place, that's fine. Here's more money, do that. We're not going to sack you though. Your job's not on the line, and that's what we've been saying at Clement for a while now. His job's not on the line. He doesn't have to worry about it. We're having good spells of winning games, and then we go back to losing. He loses on St Mirren. We draw against Motherwell. We're going to get beat on the second, and yet we're still going to fine. You got your job until the summer, and then we'll give you another 2 windows to bring in players. If it doesn't work, we might sack you by January. But we're not actually moving any further forward. We're not closing that gap. The money that we're getting from Europe isn't going to bridge the gap. They're getting the Champions League money. What are we getting? We're getting the scraps. We're getting nothing. We're not actually putting a fight on anywhere. Where is the fight from this club? What, we turn up in the games that actually don't matter because we'll turn up when we're 14 points behind? What does that matter? We're not going to close the gap any more than that.
Yeah, but the problem is, if you're going to do that, though, right, we are not in a financial position where you can keep giving managers contracts and sacking them. That costs money. So you're going to have to do one of two things then. Either you need to change your entire model for how you're giving managers contracts, and we change and go, you're now on rolling contracts, which, by the way, some of your decent caliber managers won't want to come in and rolling contracts because they want some form of assurance and security in their job, like anybody. And if you see you're on a rolling contract, then it might mean the caliber of manager you get might be slightly lesser. Now, that's not all decent managers, but some will not go for that. So that means maybe some of the names on your dream list might have to drop off it. You also need to make sure when you bring them in, you're not bringing them in on massive wages, because even with rolling contracts, if you sack them with 6 months on that, you still need to pay them 6 months. And that's my worry, is financially as a club, because one of the things you need to do to improve, of course, is sign players, and managers need backed. And you can't do that if you're always keeping money in reserve because you go, I might need to sack a manager anytime soon.
Did Angelo come into Celtic on a year's contract?
Yeah, he did.
He did, but that, yeah.
But
Ange Postecoglou,
you
might find Ange Postecoglou. My point is, though, when Ange Postecoglou came to Celtic, nobody knew who Ange Postecoglou was. Right. And what I'm saying is that we as Rangers fans would then have to apply the same type of sort of patience that Celtic fans did with Ange Postecoglou. If we bring in somebody who's an unknown and they turn out to be a Postecoglou, fantastic. Not a problem. That I would love. But we have to accept that it might be somebody you don't know that comes in the door, and they might do a great job.
I don't care who comes in as long as they do. I don't care who the manager is. As long as
the issue is, right? See, the issue is, see how you're saying you don't want to bring managers because we can't afford to sack them. These managers are then bringing in players who are not good enough, who are then costing us money because we can't get them off the wage bill because the wages are too high and nobody wants to take them. So then they leave on a free and we don't make any money. So it's these managers that are bringing in players that we then can't afford to actually shift on, that then stay in the club until the contracts run down to nothing. We get nothing for them. We settle for mediocrity. We get players in who, again, get injured. Look at Cortez. Cortez has been injured half the season and we're still going to have to pay $4 million for him in the summer because we've got an obligation to buy. Why are we going to pay that money for a player who's only played half the season and doesn't look fit enough to actually play the full 90? That's the manager making that call.
Right, I want to get to a few super chats because we're well over the hour. Firstly, AYK Video Starbar has returned as a member. Thank you very much, AYK. And has Duncan Smith. Thank you very much, Duncan. Thank you, folks, for helping to support the show. Scotty on the scene. Shameful how soft and devoid of fight we are. Bunch of in that team, especially proper. Never seen such a weak centre back as him. Connor, yeah, I mean, I was maybe a wee bit over the score when I first seen Proper, and I maybe got a bit too excited. I got that one badly wrong, as I got Lewis Ferguson badly wrong. But we are so devoid of any type of fight.
We are, yeah. They will argue that there was some of it in the second half, but it's just not enough. You don't fight for 45 minutes in the football pitch. You do it for 90 minutes. Plus whatever the added on time is. That's how it works. You first whistle to final whistle. You keep fighting. You know, that's just what you've got to do. You can have days where you don't play well and still win games of football. That's the mark of champions, as the old cliche goes. The issue we've got is we do have some real defensive frailties at this moment in time. Proper hopeless. Absolutely hopeless. I'd love nothing more than to see him out the squad come Thursday. barring him picking up an injury, that's not going to happen. And also, if he did, who are we going to have to replace him? Balogun may be able to play some part, but I don't know how bad his injury is. Suter almost certainly won't. You're then looking at the younger team. I mean, we brought in Ciala, and apparently he's not, ready or there yet to raw to play in the first team. So you're then looking around going, is it Leon King? I mean, he's got experience. He's played big matches for us before. Would it be any worse if you put Leon King in there than Robin Proper? Probably not at this stage, but that's not going to happen either. So he looks like a rabbit in the headlights. He does not look he knows what to do, and he picks up the ball. It's panic stations. He takes his time, dilly-dallies. He can't quite figure out where he's supposed to put it, what he's supposed to do it, and that's how he gets himself in all sorts of problems. And even tracking back as well, he's poor. So yeah, I'm worried about what that's going to look like, because I'm telling you now, whether it's Adam Media, Kyogo, Maeda, they'll rip him apart. They'll absolutely rip him to pieces.
Yeah, they will. They absolutely will. Another one in for Bluebells are blue. Thank you so much. Thank you to the support for everybody. And by the way, if it's your first time here, please do consider subscribing and giving the show a like as well. It does help to share it through the algorithm that is YouTube. And if you want to support even further, like a few folk have done today, and you want to sign up as a member, the link for which is in the description, either Patreon or YouTube, whatever you prefer. It's exactly the same stuff on both, just delivered in a slightly different way. So Bluebells are blue, Alex. Fans of a certain age will remember how far behind apparently we were from them before Souness came in. Get the right man in and things can change. Absolutely 100%, completely, totally different scenario from 86.
100%. It's a completely different scenario, and I don't think right now whoever you get in is going to change this season. I think it's going to hopefully add the building blocks to next season, and we can start building on it. We need to be giving managers time in the transfer window, but I don't think it's the same at all right now. I can't see this team with the group of players we've got on the pitch changing anything, bar getting second place. There was a comment in the watch along, and me and you had a good chuckle to it, Martin, that it's going to be a helicopter Sunday for second place at this point. Never mind the title, because right now we're not getting first. We're not winning the league. We'll be lucky to get second. If Aberdeen get a goal and they win tonight, we're back into third.
What was the stat, Alex? Was it like Aberdeen have like lost or drawn their last 6 or 7 games or something like that?
Last 6.
The last 6. So they've not won in their last 6 games, and if they win tonight, they can go back into second. That's damning enough for me. Just
shows how bad we actually are. If that they can drop that many points over the past 6 games and still get back into second. How bad are we as a club that we cannot get into second place and have it comfortably? Because we get one good game and then we lose 2, or we lose and draw. We don't have any fight. There's no fight. There's no desire. There's no guts from this team. There's a couple of players on there that will try and make the difference. Your Iggyman, your Cherny, your Raskin. But who else? You need 11 players fighting for the club, fighting for the game, and we don't do it. That comment you brought up saying that we don't play for 90 minutes. We hardly play for 45. Weren't even on the park in the first half. We came out in the second half when I think it was Dougal put in that our 2 man in the matches were the people that came on at half time. How bad is that 2 players have to come on and try and change the game when we should be saying any player that plays can change that game? It's not going to happen. And when you're playing Robin Proper, I don't know how many times we're going to say his name of being a poor centre-back. He's just not the man. I don't know how many times he's been in with different players and different centre-back partnerships. Anytime he goes in with another partnership, they're having to work twice as hard to bail him out. And you're putting a right back at centre-back and saying, bail him out, when he's not good enough to be a centre-back himself.
Final words of the day to you, Connor. You've got a blank canvas.
Yeah, look, I think it's very clear that Clement's tenure is no longer tenable at the club, regardless of what happens on Thursday. I think that's abundantly clear. Unfortunate as it is for him, that's abundantly clear. I think there's going to have to be wholesale changes made, hopefully by those at boardroom level over the sort of short to medium and then into long term. Because one thing that's noticeable, Martin, this is not isolated, what is happening to us right now. This is a common theme. It's a pattern that's developed over the last couple of years, since Gerrard left, since we won the league, where we start slowly, we're poor, and then we manage to claw ourselves back into good positions. And then as soon as there's a thought that we could do something, the players' mentality or whatever it is collapses. And like a house of cards, it just falls apart. And that's what's happened yet again. You know, Alex touched on there about solidifying second. With the chance to do that, if we'd have beat St Mirren, would have been 4 points ahead of Aberdeen. In fact, we should be sitting here 7 points ahead of them with him going into this game tonight. That's the opportunity we had, and with a game in hand against them as well, still to play, and a game to play them. I mean, come on. You know, we had plenty there to feel a bit optimistic about, but as soon as it happens, just like it last season, the minute we got ourselves at the top of the league, the minute we overturned that deficit and almost for a brief period kind of looked favourites based on form, we threw it away. We went to Ross County, get beat, threw it Dundee. It's a pattern. It's seeped in, I think, to the very fabric of the club now, and it's got to change. Hopefully, the new CEO and the new chairman will help in changing that. And the new manager when he comes in. I don't know, but you, Martin, and I'll ask you this to finish it off. If Clement gets sacked in January, would you be against the idea of appointing a caretaker until the summer to make sure you get it right going into next season?
If the board say, look, we're not going to rush into appointing another manager, we're going to bring in a caretaker, the league's done, the league's gone. But what's essentially happening is that the players are getting worse under Clement. The style of play is getting worse. The team looks jaded. The team look fed up on the park, and they also look as if there's only one or two different types of attacking options that they know how to do. It's either play it direct into the box or a cross.
Yep.
That's like literally all we do. When was the last time we actually seen a goal from outside the box, like a proper outside the box, not a couple of yards outside the box? We don't have different attacking options. It's always the same route. Get it out wide, cross it into the box. Get it out wide, cross it into the box. All right, I've got it in the centre of the park. I'm going to hammer it towards goal in a straight line and see where it goes. Oh, look, we got a goal off of that. So we'll just keep doing that. That's all we do. Yeah. There's no, and very seldom occasions there is, but there's no passages of play where players are playing quick 1-2 passing and making moves for each other, and there's no defensive organisation. We've got nothing, absolutely nothing. And when you've seen, was it a month and a half where things just seemed to come together and we actually started playing quite well. You can see that there's players in that team who are good enough to be at the football club. So then you have to sit back and go, right, well, if there is players who are good enough, why is it going wrong? And there's only one place you could, and that's the manager.
I think you say to whoever manager you bring in, if it's a caretaker or otherwise, and you say, look, the league's pretty much done this season, so make sure, if you can, make sure we finish in second place. Try and make sure the gap's slightly less, ideally not double figures, and try and win the Scottish Cup. That's about all you can aim for now. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, Scottish Cup's the only thing you've got control over, really. The rest, a lot of luck.
You want to see us playing good, attractive football, though. Attacking football. How many times, Mark, did we say in that watch along? All we did was watch the back line pass it to each other. It went from Yilmaz to Proper to Sterling to Tav, and back again. Get the ball forward. There's so many opportunities for this team to go forward. And I want to address a comment there, and I can't remember who put it in, but it's saying that Aberdeen will fall away. How many times this season have we fell away? We get a little bit of momentum and we fall away. We have no basis to say another team's going to fall away when we cannot get consistency ourselves. We get one good result and then the next three we fall flat in our arse.
Yeah, 100% we do. And I'm going to leave it there, folks, because like somebody put in the comments, and I can't find it now, this has been a marathon. It absolutely has. It absolutely has. Connor, Alex, thank you for joining me. Thank you to everybody who tuned in. Please make sure to leave a like before you go, folks, and make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. And of course, if you're looking for some new clobber, for new gear in January, then you can check out the Rabble Island store, the link for which is also in the description. Thank you for the support, folks. We are back. No Scottish football show tonight, Connor? No?
No, thank fuck.
Right, so that's not okay. So we're back tomorrow.
That's back next week. First show of 2025 next Sunday.
Right, good. We are back tomorrow, 12:30. And then, of course, we've got our Monday Night Rabble and our EPL show for members at 9 p.m. So thank you all for tuning in. And unfortunately, we'll be speaking to you soon.